Hey YouTube family, it's Dinko the Realtor, your Utah Realtor. What's the mortgage application data saying about the Utah housing market, about the housing market nationwide? Has it stabilized? Short answer is no. But you know I'm going to have the data. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on, and I'll tell you what the trends are like. And if you're trying to buy in 2024, when you can do that to take advantage and make sure that you're buying a house when it's the right time for you. Don't forget to smash that like button, push this video in front of more people. It'll really help me. Also hit that subscribe button. That'll help me as well with this content that I'm creating, so it's going in front of more people, and also so you don't miss any updates that are coming into future videos, because you want to be on top of the Utah housing market. Now, right here, if we take a look at this, interest rates are just stuck. I mean, they're down from the highs of the 8th percentile where we were at in October. But every time they start coming down and they're talking that the interest rates are going to keep coming down, they spike right back up and they spike right back up. So we see that interest rates are just not giving up. And why is that? Well, if we take a look over here, it's inflation. Consumer prices climb 3.2% in February as the goal remains elusive, the 2% goal that the Fed is after. So they said that they want inflation to be 2%. Now, that's not going to cut back on any of the inflation that's already taken place. They just don't want future inflation to outpace 2%. And they're having a difficult time. As that article stating, everything keeps hovering between 3 and 4%. So they're having a hard time getting into the 2 percentile for inflation. And that is why we are seeing these interest rates being stuck in the 7 percentile. Now, I want to show y'all what's going on with the 10-year, and I did not pull that up. So let me go ahead and pull that up here real quick. The 10-year right here is what interest rates are going after. And we see that it's at 4.3%. Every time there's a give, boom, they hop back up. There's a give up interest rates, boom, there's a back up. Why? Because of the inflation. Now, I want to show y'all what's going on with mortgage applications and for you to read between the lines. Now let me pull that up right here. Look at mortgage applications increase in the latest Mortgage Banker Association weekly survey. So mortgage applications increase, doesn't that mean that it's going to be multiple offers all over again everywhere? No, read the small print. And I'm going to show you how to kind of follow this. Mortgage applications increased 9.7% from a week earlier. However, they were falling the previous few weeks in February before interest rates took a small dip, but now interest rates are going back up. And right here, if we take a look at the purchase index, we see right here 2% lower than the same week a year ago. So however, the mortgage applications were up, right, week over week. But if we compare to the same week a year ago, it was 2% lower than the same week 1 year ago. But the biggest kicker is this right here. Look at this, March 2nd of 2023, mortgage applications dropped to a 28-year low as rates climb. So if mortgage applications were to even increase 5% year over year, well, it's a 28-year low that we're comparing it to. I mean, that's not indicating that the buyers have just come out the woods and it's going to be Armageddon. Plus, that would cause issues to the Fed with what they're trying to do and cause inflation to be no higher than around 2%. And when we go back to this article over here, where did that article go? Inflation in here, it actually says that housing is one of the main reasons what's actually causing the inflation to stick. So the Fed, remember, Jerome Powell said that a housing correction is almost kind of needed, and we did have that. They are trying to do a soft landing, but the longer that they kind of hold on to this, trying to avoid the recession, the bigger they are building up the bubble, if there is one. And you know, we went over in previous videos all the different things that are brewing in the economy, so we're not going to go over that. But as long as this is remaining elusive, this fight against inflation, we know that that interest rate is not going to drop. Now, if we are, I guess they're going to give me a commercial. Anyway, if we are lower, than we were the same time a year ago, but that was 28% low or 28-year low, then how is it all peachy and dandy if it just increases once, right? So you got to read those articles. Oh, mortgage applications have increased 3 weeks straight, 2 weeks straight. Okay, great. How much? 2%, 1%, 4%, 8%? What does that compare like to a year ago? And is it higher or lower? And even if it's a little bit higher, a year ago, it was tremendously lower than it was when we're comparing 2023 to 2022. So you got to read between the lines. Now, right here, check this out. Let me pull this up. this right here is showing us that the housing market, look at the under contracts, 4,316, 4,292, and then we see the backups 538, 768. So the under contracts are essentially the same that they were a year ago. And if we pull up the data, what does that show us? Well, let me pull that up here as well, right? So if we pull up the data, actually, let me pull this one up over here. Look, 2023, there was only 34,000 houses, units sold. And in 2020 was the highest year of 52,000, and 47,000 was the last pre-pandemic year of 2019. So we see that in 2023, we had way less units sell than in 2019. And then if we hop on over here to this other Excel sheet, that's actually not the one I was going to show. It's the sold data right here. So if we're taking a look at sold data, look at all of this negative. This is less units being sold. Only October and January actually had increases where there was more sales year over year. And that was actually true slightly for February as well. And I'll show you all that here. And right here, 2019, look how much lower the sales are. The only thing that prevented, again, are the negative listings. We had way less listings hitting the housing market in 2023 compared to 2022. However, that trend is now changing where listings are coming in at a much higher pace. So if we take a look at this, look at the listing inventory, 3,700 compared to 3,200 in 2023, which was actually even higher than 2022. And if we take a look over here in 2024, 3,800 in February compared to 3,200 in February 2023. And pretty much the same count compared to February of 2022. Now, we still have 2 more weeks, so it's safe to say that this is going to end up in 4,000 something territory, maybe approaching 5,000 as we are right now at the 18th of March. So we might not get this 5,100 that we saw in March of 2022. However, it is going to be higher than this March of 2023, the 3,900. And again, that is the only thing that prevented the housing market from continuing the price drops, where we saw price drops drop upwards of 15%. And right here, we see that we were the same, right? We had more inventory, and then this one is going to be less. So when you take the first few months, it's actually going to be the same inventory levels compared to 2022. Now, if that trend continues and we start seeing something close, I don't think we're going to see these 6,000s. I don't think we're going to see quite that inventory that we saw in 2022 unless we see some forced selling. However, if we see this number get lower and the sales have not rebounded, the under contracts have not rebounded, and mortgage applications haven't rebounded, that means that the spring buying or the spring selling season, where sellers are having the advantage, is going to be probably shorter lived than it was last year. And then it's going to become a buyer's market. We are literally flipping between seller's market, buyer market, seller market, buyer market. That's been the trend the last 2 years. The first half of 2022, it peaked in May of 2022, then it started becoming a buyer's market. Same thing in 2023. It peaked in June, and then it started becoming a buyer's market. And I think that this year it's going to become a buyer's market probably earlier than June, maybe May. Also keep in mind that real estate data is about 30 to 40 days old, so that June, when the market peaks in June, is actually May's data. And after the school year starts, 30% of homes the last 2 years for sale have been on the market 100 plus days, and that trend doesn't seem it's going to change this time around as well. So we got to follow on, what's going along right here, what's going on with the listings. And now let me see if I can pull up what's going on with some other data here with the solds, and then I'll wrap this up here. Let me just see here if I can find it. There we go. So if we take a look right here, January, 2,262 sold compared to 2,032, just like I showed y'all on the Excel. Look at February though, 2,666 to 2,612 compared to 2022, there was 3,000. So we see about 400 units less being sold. And right here, this is pretty much the same. However, remember, there was an increase in the amount of listings that hit the market, 572, but the sales right here are pretty identical. And then right here, we see the sales are up maybe about 200 units. However, the listings are up 500 units. So if you're taking the net gain, there's always a net gain. And if you take a look right here, look at the inventory. It's starting to increase year over year. So if the spring inventory floods the market, the buyers don't come out, the applications don't uptick, and we see listings hitting at a much, much faster pace, but the buyers are buying at the same pace, that is probably going to make the buyer's market turn quicker. And if you are looking to buy and you want to take advantage of the housing market, the last 2 years, and this is the third year, the second half of the year is probably going to get you the better deals. That's been the trend. That's what some of the buyers, well, a lot of the buyers I've been helping with have been taking advantage of. If you need to get a hold of me, my contact information is down below in the description.